With news breaking earlier this year that Activision's top brass have decided to break Call of Duty's annual combo streak stretching back to 2006, shunning a Call of Duty title for 2023 due to, in their words, a lacklustre reception to 2021's Call of Duty Vanguard. The question is, should Call of Duty die altogether? Would the video game industry be blighted by its demise? Well, obviously Call of Duty's absence will dismay millions of players. It's one of the most successful entertainment franchises of all time, with thousands of people within Activision concurrently working on the series. Theoretically, extract Call of Duty from the world and it'll leave a cataclysmic hollow in its wake. However, a flick through the middling reviews for Call of Duty titles of recent years yields the same grievance. Call of Duty games oftentimes are solid, serviceable shooters with decent campaigns and multiplayer modes, let down by a lack of innovation. Even the best-selling game in the US in 2020, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, was critically panned for lacking innovation despite its commercial success. So perhaps a better question: what does it mean to lack innovation, and why is it important to be innovative? Is a perceived lack of innovation the driving force behind Activision bigwigs slowing the pace of Call of Duty titles? Activision publicly decreed Vanguard's underperforming sales in their annual financial results report, with its World War II setting in particular not resonating with some of the game's community. They admit there's a lack of innovation too, owing to, according to Activision's higher-ups, the breakneck pace of Call of Duty development cycles. Slow the rate of release, and quality will upturn, or so the theory goes. Thing is, Call of Duty's development is handled by a triptych of dedicated studios: Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer and Treyarch, in collaboration with Raven Software. While Call of Duty has operated on a 3-year, 3-studio development cycle for the best part of a decade, the lines have most definitely blurred in recent years, with development of the series becoming increasingly complex and collaborative. Cast your mind back to last year. Call of Duty Battle Royale Warzone had reached a milestone 100 million unique players. Activision Studios kept focus on this, of course, alongside creating mobile iterations of the COD franchise, plus the development and release of Vanguard, plus this year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in the works. Then, from the outside looking in, Call of Duty production has been in overdrive. Even with the 3 studios each handling a Call of Duty title and spreading the development over several years, the sheer amount of content in the works means that they're operating at breaking point, whichever way you spin it. Other talented studios under Activision's umbrella, renowned studio Toys for Bob, the teams behind Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2's exceptional remaster Vicarious Visions, and High Moon Studios, responsible for one of the most beguiling first-person shooters of the 21st century, Western horror steampunk opus Darkwatch, have all been drafted in to keep Call of Duty's wheels spinning. Were these auxiliary studios operating under their own steam, who knows what innovative and exciting projects they'll unleash onto the world instead of another war-themed shooter. And there's that word again, innovation. Like Half-Life, like Halo Combat Evolved, Call of Duty's first entry back in 2003 is an FPS Hall of Famer. It molded first-person shooters into something breathtaking and cinematic. Its guns felt powerful, its emotional World War II narrative interweaved stories told threefold across the ranks of Allied forces. Its action, whereby players fought as a tightly choreographed unit, was unprecedented. All of these aspects were truly innovative for the time. Call of Duty 2 and 3 built on the formula, but were largely cosmetic updates. Since those early titles, though, has Call of Duty actually done anything truly innovative? Sure, settings change and are revisited, and sometimes memorable characters come and go. But by and large, Call of Duty is reskinned, repurposed, and resold back to the undiscerning consumer year on year. Even 10 years ago, in an interview with then Activision Chief Operating Officer Thomas Tipple, dismissed growing sentiment of Call of Duty's franchise fatigue. He believed this only occurs when developers get lazy and fail to innovate, which, to his reckoning, Call of Duty was not. In his mind, the series had years of innovation ahead of it. It's strange looking back to assess this statement. For starters, incremental changes inherent in annually updated games don't equate to innovation. And secondly, a lot of Call of Duty's revamps were reactive to other movements in the industry. Their first Battle Royale title, 2020's free-to-play Warzone, whilst to be fair is in a good state right now, was created to tap into the Battle Royale trend kickstarted by Fortnite, and it was littered with gremlins when it launched. Of course, this feature is full of subjective opinions. You may be thinking it's tough to radically innovate year in, year out, and yes, you'd be right. However, there are heaps of gun-orientated titles that have provided new and interesting mechanics to further push the genre to undiscovered places. The SWAT series' hyper-focus on tactical, lethal force as a last resort gunplay pushes players to proceed with restraint. Superhot's eye-grazing slow motion ties player character motion to player movement. Splatoon's ink splatters affecting mobility through the environment in fun and meaningful ways, and Far Cry 2 utilizing its war-ravaged setting to influence gun design and player navigation equipment. The problem Call of Duty has is that it's spent the past decade and a half pigeonholing itself as cinematic, mindless popcorn fun. So, any attempts to drastically revamp the game's mechanics will inevitably lead to player dismay. So, Activision keep churning out the same experience every year, and players keep lapping it up. It's been mentioned already, but 2020's Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War being the top-selling game in the US that year kind of indicates that players aren't necessarily bothered about what kind of COD they get. This feature is only focused so heavily on innovation though, because Activision have publicly blamed their lack of it on Vanguard's failure. In response, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 launches at the end of October, and the next iteration of their free-to-play Warzone 2 coming next year means the Call of Duty juggernaut will trundle on despite no mainline title coming in 2023. A year off doesn't seem like it'd make a scrap of difference to the lack of innovation inherent with Call of Duty, seeing as more than 3,000 Activision staff, the bulk of their workforce, are still reportedly working on the series. Of all of the developmental talent nestled within Activision's ranks, it would be fantastic if they could spread their creative wings onto bold new IPs, with the odd risk taken on new mechanics, new settings, subgenres, or, well, anything but the same sugar rush action COD has built its name on.
So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.